Good afternoon, everyone. My name is John Gravel. I lead the Gas Analytics and Detection Group here at Lessman Instrument Company. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us for today's webinar. This session is going to focus on the Honeywell OmniPoint, high-performance multi-sensor fixed gas detector, and the applications where these instruments can reduce costs while increasing safety performance. Our speaker for today is Chad Knuth of Honeywell Analytics. Chad is a senior account manager and has a wealth of knowledge about fixed gas detection systems and applications. We welcome Chad and appreciate his knowledge and experience that he's going to share. Please note, during the presentation, microphones are put on mute, so please use the question and answer section or the chat section at the bottom for your questions and comments, and we'll address those at the Q&A section at the end of the presentation. With that, I'm going to turn it over to our speaker, Chad. The floor is yours.
Thanks, John. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. I know your time's precious, so I appreciate you taking time out of your day to learn about some new offerings from Honeywell. So the goal today is just to introduce you to the next generation of industrial transmitter from Honeywell. Honeywell introduced the previous model called the X and X back in 2009. So it's essentially 15 years ago. Industrial products typically have a 10-year lifespan. And that's just due to certifications and barriers to entry, etc. Some competitive offerings have come into the market since we launched our X and X. In addition, we've gotten a lot of feedback from customers, and we thought it was time for a refresh. We really wanted to push the envelope and not just an incremental step, but we wanted to take a large leap forward on our next platform, which is the OmniPoint. So some things I wanted to kind of go over were cost of ownership, ease of operation, and worker safety. So these are the three key challenges that we face today in the market. Obviously, cost of ownership is a big one. Not just what it costs today, but what it costs to maintain moving forward through the life cycle of the product. And then ease of operations, how easy is it to train and to train employees on how to use the equipment? And then how do we protect our workers, and how efficient is that equipment in making sure our workers are safe? So the cost of ownership conversation, a big part of that is it being a multi-sensor transmitter. You only need one transmitter for up to 3 detection points. So you're spending less on transmitters and gaining more detection points. And a big cost savings is on our replacement sensors. As you can see, we have somewhere between 30 and 6% cost savings on replacement sensors. And we're not changing the sensors from the X and X to the OmniPoint. We're using the same sensor technologies, same classifications, same proprietary information like our sure shell and reflex technologies, which are proprietary technologies that Honeywell offers. We lower the cost essentially by going from a stainless steel housing to a polycarbonate sensor housing. So we're just passing those savings to you guys, and then a 50% reduction in startup and commissioning via Bluetooth. So there's a pretty significant cost on startup and commissioning and maintenance as well. So ease of operation, simplified startup commissioning. These devices have a Bluetooth option that'll allow you to interface with the detector via a Bluetooth app. So the Bluetooth interface reduces startup commissioning by up to 50%. You can have a single person calibration. We're offering a TFT touch key interface. So you're navigating the actual transmitter with the tip of your fingertip. So we went away from the magnets. OmniPoint app simplifies startup commissioning and also generates calibration reports that creates a PDF file within the app that can be easily emailed directly from the app to yourself or to the end user. And then also we went away from like a warning code and a warning fault. So now you're receiving real text notification. So ease of operation. Oops, excuse me. So as far as worker safety goes, one thing that we've introduced on a few of our products over the last few years is this halo ring that you'll see. So you can get a status at a glance. So you can make critical decisions a lot faster. So just by at a glance, you can kind of see the status of where your detector is at. As you can see, this first one, this is just green, so it's a normal status. You have a yellow halo here, which would indicate a fault status. You have a red halo here, indicating an alarm status, and there's another one that's a blue ring, which would just indicate that you're connected to the device via a Bluetooth app. So this is coming back from a lot of the voice of the customers that we've conducted over several years to kind of improve from the X and X. So looking at some of the customer feedback, the primary focus again has been on the VOC. So the first request was to have a truly universal transmitter. We can use any multiple sensor technologies and not change the transmitter configuration. In the past, the internal electronics were dependent on a sensor technology. We use one electronics puck for either it be electrochemical or catalytic bead or an IR sensor. So the OmniPoint is a truly universal transmitter. With the X and X, the electronics were dependent on the sensor type, and if you changed sensor types, you would more often than not need to change the electronics as well. So we've done away with that and essentially have a truly universal platform. Another piece of the feedback that was regarding multi-sensor capability, we have the ability to detect more than one gas from a single transmitter. And that's really important, essentially, in areas that have multiple hazards. OmniPoint is capable of doing, again, multiple gases, up to 3 sensors per transmitter. The third piece of feedback was the need for ease of use. No one likes using a magnet in an interface with their detector or having a special tool that they need to interface with their device. These magnets get lost or misplaced, so not having external tools to interface with your transmitter, the OmniPoint makes it a lot more simple. So again, kind of going into cost of ownership, and cost of ownership is a key point in the decision-making process. There are 2 aspects that go into the cost of ownership. There's a CAPex, which is your initial purchase price, and then there's OPex, which is your operating expenses to maintain the system. The OmniPoint helps with both of these. 3 sensor capability means that you need fewer total transmitters on your site and fewer SKUs to keep in stock. So here's this is just showing you the 3 sensor configuration, sensor capabilities here. So again, going over OPEX, we're very competitive, and we will continue to be very competitive. What we really wanted to do is spend some time on designing costs out of the parts that you replace most frequently, right? So that's going to be your sensor cartridges. So again, we've kind of redesigned from a stainless steel to more polycarbonate. So there's some really big savings to be had with replacement sensors. I highly encourage doing a cost of ownership calculation. Look at a 10-year lifespan where you may replace your sensor 3, 4, or 5 times. You'll notice that the cost is very significant. So just to give you like a high-level example, the OmniPoint has an H2S sensor that's listed at $250. That's 250. Our previous model on the X and X, that same sensor was $408. I've seen quotes from other gas detection companies as high as $650 for that same H2S sensor. So that's like roughly a 60% cost savings on a single sensor that you're going to need to replace multiple times throughout the life cycle of the detector. Our marketing team, it's only put 30%, which you'll see listed here. I'll just state that that number is very, very conservative. And again, I've calculated up to 60% on quotes that I've seen. So what does that mean in dollars? So we think we could save up to $50 a unit on with installation and startup and commissioning. That's based on faster installation and commissioning. If you're able to navigate through the menu structure without any false clicks with the magnet, we think you'll be able to service and maintain much quicker, and the results and savings in terms of time and money. The other thing I'll mention here is that we've updated the mounting protocol. So in the past on the X and X, you had 2 mounting points. On the OmniPoint, we have 4 mounting points, which gives you a lot more flexibility on different services. So you got pipe mounts, wall mounts, and we use what they call a racetrack style mounting, where you can make micro adjustments on there as well. So a lot more versatility on mounting. Oops, excuse me. So going into ease of operations, we spoke about how essentially nobody likes to use magnets. It's been the standard in HAZLOC areas and industrial products for a long time. We've done away with that on the OmniPoint. So again, what we wanted to do is create something that you were more familiar with, something that we use in our personal lives, things that we carry in our pocket, a smartphone. So one thing that we obviously added was Bluetooth. The ability to interface with a device using a Bluetooth means that you don't necessarily need to be physically in front of the device. So this can be very useful, especially when devices are mounted in hard to reach areas. There's a lot of applications where devices are mounted 30 to 50 feet up in the air. In the past, you would need to get access to these areas with a cherry picker or a lift. And now you can simply pull out your phone or tablet and connect to the device via Bluetooth. And then we have a touch key interface, which uses very similar technology that you use on your phone. So it's comfortable and familiar. We try to simplify the menu structure to make it more intuitive versus the X and X. And the ease of interface, I think, will help service and maintain and require less time in the field for maintenance from a maintenance perspective. We talked a little about this earlier, but the ability to use your finger instead of the magnet is significantly easier, requires less training, fewer false clicks, a more speedy navigation through the menu structure. Additionally, there's multiple ways to view the status. You've got the LED ring on the outside as well as top level, top level status icon in the middle here. So where's my cursor? So that is what we're referring to there. Following up on the intuitive interface discussion, the ability to drill down and see event history is now in more of a graphical way here. This provides information on what's happening immediately before and after an alarm or an event. So you can determine if this was a slow leak or was this a catastrophic release or was this something else. So we actually plot the concentrations on a graphical form, as you can see here, and then show you your peak values. And then you'll see that there's your alarm level 1 line here. So you can see exactly when you hit that first alarm level and what it peaked out at and so forth. In addition, you'll have the ability to see specific information on each channel. You can see here the sensor type, the serial number, the firmware, lots of additional information available just by drilling down with the tip of your finger on the specific channel that you've selected. So again, sensor type, sensor information, sensor temperature, sensor life, and firmware, and there's a couple of different menus there that you can get more information on that particular channel. So let's talk a little bit about worker safety. That's obviously one of the key reasons why we have these devices on site. It's important to have workers have the ability to see status at a glance, be able to make quick decisions so that in an emergency, people are able to determine quickly what's happening with their device and what their mitigation plan or what their next steps in terms of responding to that hazard is. So injuries are unfortunately a big story in our industry. Everyone should be able to go home at the end of the day. Let's just say it's less expensive to buy an extra detector than to deal with insurance or something even worse. So once again, talking about the at a glance view of the status here, you can see that this device is an alarm as it's red with the halo ring and also right at this indicator here. The central icon shows the alarm status. You can see if you look close, I'm not sure if this is too small or not, but there's a little number 1 within this bell. This is indication of you're in your first alarm level. And if it was an alarm level 2, this would change from a 1 to a 2.
Chad, the LED ring also flashes, doesn't it, for alarm 2?
It does, John.
Okay.
Thanks for bringing that up. So kind of going back to the voice of the customers, there were some limitations with the X and X and the distance the sensor could be remotely mounted. This has gone away essentially here. We can now remote mount sensors up to 300 meters away. And you can also use a standard off-the-shelf junction box, which is different than on the previous X and X. We have an XPIS, or intrinsically safe sensor module now with the OmniPoint. You can change electrochemical sensors without the need of having to cycle power. So there's essentially an intrinsically safe barrier on the XPIS sensor module that allows you to take the sensor out, pop in the new one, and not have to cycle power. You could also replace sensors. Actually, one thing that when you are going through and changing sensors, you can go through the menu and select change sensor, and it'll walk you through step by step how to change that sensor. So that now there's like a tutorial on how to change sensors actually on the display of the device, to making it a lot simpler. And this slide here talks about connectivity. So what are the inputs and outputs that are available? The XPIS shown here is for our electrochemical sensors. The XP offers both catalytic bead and IR sensor, similar to what was offered with the X and X. From an output perspective, obviously you've got a 4 to 20 milliamp output. You have 3 standard relays on board, and then you can get hard or mod buses and output as well. One thing that I'll mention as well is now that I'm looking at here, this talks about a press fit calibration cap. So the calibration cap actually comes in the box with a transmitter. So there's no need to buy a calibration cap separate. It comes with it. And it's just a press fit. It just uses an O-ring to secure the calibration cap right next to the sensor there. All right, so these are the gases that and the measuring ranges that are available at the initial release. So we released this just a few months ago, and these are the sensors that we have available now. Every 3 months, we should be introducing more sensors until we have the full lineup to match our previous X and X. So for launch 1, we've got cap bead. We also have an IR slug that does methane and propane. We've got a high and low H2S sensor. We've got an oxygen sensor, and this oxygen sensor is a little bit different than the X and X. It has a longer life, but it also comes shipped with a battery, so that's not using its life while in transit or in storage. So it's again, the sensor comes mounted on like a little circuit board with some batteries on there to prolong the sensor's life, which is a really nice feature. And then also we've got a high and low sulfur dioxide and a carbon monoxide and chlorine sensors. And again, over the next year or so, and every 3 months, we should be launching new sensors to make this list a lot larger.
Chad, it's not listed, but the device can also accept the Optima, right? The Optima Plus.
That is correct. It's not listed here, but we do have the IR Optima sensor that is compatible with the OmniPoint, John. Good point. So one of the main goals was providing maximum flexibility for our customers, and that flexibility is in a variety of different ways and areas. Installation that I covered earlier was kind of one of the things that we got with our voice of the customer. We really wanted to provide more flexibility and for different variety of different uses. With the multi-sensor operation, that's become even more so. What you're seeing here is a variety of different sensor configurations as well as local and remote sensing sensor mounting options. The display on the OmniPoint can actually rotate 90 degrees. So you can obviously see the Bluetooth pointed either to your left or vertically. So you can actually rotate the display, mount the transmitter in any configuration that you want, and it'll adjust the display so you can read it without having to turn your head essentially. So that's a nice new key feature. If you wanted to have, for instance, a dual sensor and an Optima all mounted on the device at the same time, you can do that by turning the device 90 degrees, what you would see essentially here. So this particular Optima sensor that John had mentioned, this is our IR sensor. It has to be mounted in a particular orientation, which is this orientation here. And by the ability to change your display, you can have your, either electrochemical or IR sensors also orientated in a vertical position, which is obviously ideal. You can get it with a single sensor, you can get it with a dual sensor, but when you get into that 3 sensor configuration, I will like to point out that one of those 3 has to be this Optima sensor here. So you can get, again, a single, a dual, but once you get into that 3, one of them has to be an Optima. Just wanted to point that out. So this is kind of just a head-to-head comparison with our previous model, the X and X. The big thing is the full range of sensors. This should be probably a yellow mark because we haven't fully launched all the sensors, but again, that's kind of down the road within the next year or so. And then the main thing is operating temperatures. This is the highest and lowest temperature rating on the market. So if you're going in extremely hot or extremely cold environments, these will be rated to do so. I will note that you will want to check the sensor's operating temperatures as well. Just because the transmitter can go, minus 55 C doesn't necessarily mean a sensor can have that same temperature range. So just note that. But the transmitter itself is a lot more wide as far as the operating temperature goes from the X and X. And this is, again, kind of just touch and reduce operator touch time, talking about the Bluetooth and being able to reduce the amount of time you're in front of the detector. Diagnostic information, which we touched about. So again, we're getting away from the warning and false, and you don't have to refer back to a manual. This will give you a readable format and a call to action instructions. Again, all designed to make you more informed and have the ability to make your actions a lot faster. Again, improved access, so Bluetooth capabilities up to 20 meters away, and then high visibility is just pointing out this halo ring here. And then the lower cost of ownership, again, multiple sensor capabilities allow you to buy one transmitter and up to 3 different sensor, reducing your installation cost. Cost-effective replacement sensor cartridges, again, I'm seeing up to 60% savings on some particular sensors, which is a big deal when you're, especially for customers that have, you know, a large amount of sensors on site. John and I have met with some customers that have up to 400 sensors, and when you're talking about replacing 400 sensors 4 or 5 times a year, the costs add up pretty quickly. The cost savings. So within the OmniPoint, we have on our website, you can get access to our brochures, application guides, videos, quick start guides, data sheets. All that will be available on our landing page at Honeywell. All you have to do is Google Honeywell OmniPoint and it'll bring you to our landing page for the product. You can scan this QR code now if you wanted to have the QR code take you to that link of the landing page. And then lastly, I got this video
the
here.
OmniPoint by Honeywell, the new standard in premium gas detection. Industries with hazardous environments are facing increasing safety demands and regulation. Providing an easy-to-use detection platform that offers the flexibility to address safety requirements in a variety of environments. When monitoring for flammable gas leaks, a comprehensive gas detection solution is required, designed to operate in hazardous locations and support multiple sensors in the detection of toxic, oxygen, and flammable gas hazards. OmniPoint by Honeywell utilizes multiple sensor technologies to meet diverse gas detection challenges in a variety of global industries. A full-color, touch-key interface and Bluetooth-enabled operation makes setup and maintenance intuitive. With the capability to connect up to 3 sensors, OmniPoint is both flexible and scalable to meet your safety requirements. A chemical plant manufacturing plastics uses hydrocarbon gases, such as ethylene, as an intermediate. An OmniPoint equipped with an Optima Plus would detect any excess ethylene present and activate an alarm. In many industrial facilities, storage tanks present a hazard from potential leaks. Dangerous levels of combustible gases like methane can leak from valves and entry points. An XP sensor configured with a catalytic bead sensor and connected to the OmniPoint will detect any rise in LEL levels in these high-risk areas and activate an alarm to alert workers of the hazard. In enclosed spaces like control rooms and maintenance buildings, it is critical to ensure that heavier-than-air gases don't displace oxygen in occupied areas. An XPIS sensor connected to the OmniPoint can monitor O2 levels to ensure local standards for worker safety are met. The ability to address multiple gas hazards with a single transmitter makes the OmniPoint high in both utility and value. Bluetooth connectivity allows an OmniPoint to be set up and configured wirelessly through the OmniPoint app. This functionality saves time and money through faster configuration and remote maintenance for devices in hard-to-reach locations. The OmniPoint transmitter is equipped with a full-color LED display and different light rings that provide a clear indication status, including normal condition green, fault yellow, alarm red, and Bluetooth configuration blue. OmniPoint by Honeywell allows you to take control of your system with an at-a-glance view of your system status for time-critical decisions. Drill down into each channel to see sensor information and event history data. Durable, offering the widest operating temperature range on the market. Simple, touch-key operation takes the complexity out of daily tasks. Colorful, full-color display provides key information at a glance. Flexible, mounting and configuration options designed to fit your operational needs. The all-new OmniPoint by Honeywell, the new standard in premium gas detection.
Chad, is your microphone working?
It is not. I had it on mute, John, for the video. I
Okay,
apologize.
that's all right.
So I just wanted to thank everybody for bearing through the video. And then that previous slide, if you again want to get more information on the OmniPoint, this will bring you to our landing page. And then just wanted to again thank you for your time, and then we wanted to open it up for questions. See if you guys have any questions that maybe we can address here. If you can, just put your questions into the chat, and then we'll address them as they come in.
We got a set of them. So
Okay.
let's start from the top. First was asking about performance approval. Is it FM Global approved?
This it is UL approved. We are working on certifications as such as FM and SIL ratings. So as of right now, these are UL listed, not FM.
But
So
that's in process.
that is in the process.
Okay.
FM takes a bit longer for some reason.
Yeah. Well, I think they need operating hours.
Yep.
The other question was similar to the SIL question, I think. It's is there reliability data comparing the traditional system, which is I think meaning a single point, to a new 3-in-1? Do we have any reliability data that we could
I would have
share?
to check with our offering manager to see if that's information that I can provide, but I don't have anything at my disposal currently, John. So yeah, but we'll
Just
go
to
ahead.
confirm, so we'll reach out to this individual specifically to make sure we understand the nature of the question and what answers, what evidence they're looking for. But the other portion of the question is confirming that you could use one transmitter and 3 sensing points. Can you just review that one more time? So if you have 3 sensors, you could have 3 LEL sensors. One of them has to be an Optima Plus.
Correct.
And then the other 2 could be catalytics or 2
Yeah.
toxics or a mix and
Yeah,
match.
you can mix and match any way you like on the 3 sensors as long as one of them is an Optima. So you can literally have 2 oxygen sensors or a methane and oxygen sensor or whatever configuration that you like. It's so again, it's a single sensor, a dual sensor, or a 3 sensor configuration. Once you get in that 3 sensor configuration, one of them has to be an Optima. The other 2 can be any gas of your choosing.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
This one, it says sure cell question mark reflex. I think they're just asking for clarification. You had mentioned sure cell and reflex as technologies in the EChem sensors.
So some proprietary technologies. I mean, there's only a couple of sensor manufacturers in the world, Honeywell being one of them. Every time we develop new technologies, more often than not, some of these proprietary technologies we keep in-house, and 2 of those would be reflex and sure cell. So reflex is all it is we're doing an electronic bump test of the sensor. So we're pinging that sensor and monitoring its feedback. And if that sensor is degraded to a certain point, it'll throw the transmitter into a warning, letting you know, hey, it's time to replace that sensor. So it's designed to give you, once that sensor reaches about 30% life left, it's designed for you to give you enough time to have somebody come out, swap the sensors to keep you from any kind of downtime. So that's reflex technology. And then sure cell is essentially so with our electrochemical sensors, they have a working reservoir of electrolyte, and during fluctuations of temperature and humidity, that electrolyte's going to expand and contrast, and there's only so much room within that reservoir. So what SureCell is we put in a secondary backup reserve reservoir. so that electrolyte can flow back and forth between the main reservoir. So essentially, it prevents the sensors from rupturing due to temperature, humidity fluctuations, um, and allows us to have the sensor respond faster.
Got it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
This one is about a wet well application. Oh, can you, so in the pictures you showed the one or two of the sensors being physically connected to the transmitter head.
Mm-hmm.
Could they all three be remote mounted, for example, in a wet well application? Put the
They can,
transmitter at the head, top of the
yes, they
stairs?
can be.
Okay,
Yeah, so there's again, you can have them all directly mounted to the transmitter, or you can have all three of them remote mounted. We do offer this junction box here to allow you to remote mount, but again, this was kind of unique on the X and X. You were kind of pigeonholed to this junction box, whereas now in the OmniPoint you can pretty much use any junction box. But to the point of your question, John, you can have these all three remote mounted. You can have them all three integrated into the transmitter. The whole design goal was maximum flexibility.
and that's a 2-wire, right, for the remote, except for the Optima. Those are for the
Yeah, except
XPIS
the
and
Optima.
XP.
Yep,
Those are
I
just
think
2-wire
it's just
for
a
the
2-wire.
remotes.
Correct, and I think the Optima is like a 6-wire. But yeah,
Yeah,
everything else is 2-wire.
that simplifies things. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Here's a good question. How long will parts/sensors be available for the XNX platform?
Great question. So yes, the OmniPoint will phase out the X and X, but we're going to be offering the X and X for the next few years. So you can still, do business as usual on the X and X. So transmitters, pods, sensors, all will be available for the next few years. But we do plan on phasing that out after that 3-year mark. But will still be, have serviceable parts. We just won't be selling like the transmitter anymore. So, and I think we'll do that for an additional couple of years. So just within the next, like, let's say 5 years, we will not be supporting the X and X platform anymore. But again, for the foreseeable future, the next couple of years, nothing's going to change, and then we'll put it as service only. So again, just replacement component sensors, and then a couple of years after that, we'll phase it out completely.
Got it. I'm just scanning here. I think that's got them. A couple more, but I think we're answered with the 3 sensors. Okay. So Chad, thanks very much. Appreciate your time and expertise. And for the attendees, thank you very much for joining us. If there are any follow-up questions or specific application questions, please give us a call. You can reach us at 800-9-LESMAN, LESMAN. That's 800-953-7626. If you don't know your account managers personally, feel free to ask for me, and I'll make sure you get what you're looking for. You can reach out to me directly at johng@lessman.com. If you want to know more about any of the technologies we support, all these webinars are posted on our website and on our Lessman Instrument Company YouTube channel. Also, a personal request, if there are topics you'd like us to cover in future webinars, please send me an email with a subject that you'd like to see covered. We have access to lots of product and process specialists and experts. We just want to make sure we keep it focused. So let us know what you'd like us to see and cover. Again, you can email me at johng@lessman.com. If there are no further questions at this stage, I think we'll conclude the presentation. Thanks everybody for attending. Have a fantastic week. Thanks again,
Thank you,
Chad.
everybody.
Appreciate
Thank you.
it.